At 4:12 in the morning, at a listening station run by volunteers who do this for free, a dish pointed at an empty patch of sky picked up a signal it had no business receiving. The frequency was exact. The encoding was exact. And the source had gone silent 27 years earlier, in a year when most of the volunteers listening that night had not yet been born. In 1979, a multinational research effort known as the Far Reach Program launched a single spacecraft on a trajectory built to use the outer planet's own gravity as a slingshot, a grand tour, decades in the planning, that would only work if the launch window was hit within days. It was. The probe was designated MERIDIAN, and for 18 years it did exactly what it was built to do. MERIDIAN flew past 4 planets, returning images no telescope on Earth could match, then kept going past the edge of the charted solar system, into the long dark where a spacecraft's only company is its own telemetry. Every few weeks on schedule, it reported that it was cold, alone, and functioning exactly as designed. Mission control had long since shrunk from a full room to a handful of engineers on rotation. Nobody expected the job to end any other way than quietly. On a Tuesday in 1997, MERIDIAN transmitted a routine status report: power nominal, attitude nominal, instruments nominal. 9 seconds into the next scheduled transmission, the signal stopped, not faded, not degraded, stopped, the way a recording stops when someone cuts the tape. There was no warning in the data. There has never been an explanation in the data. The engineer on shift that night logged it by regulation as a routine loss of signal. She has said in every interview since that she did not believe her own log entry, even as she typed it. A spacecraft that stops transmitting is not technically a spacecraft that has failed. It is a spacecraft you can no longer prove is doing anything at all. The Far Reach program searched for MERIDIAN for 3 more years, found nothing, and did what every program eventually does with an unsolved silence: filed it, funded a smaller archive staff to keep the records, and moved on. By the time this story begins, most of the engineers who built MERIDIAN had retired. Several had died. The program that made history for 18 years became, quietly, 4 filing cabinets and a caretaker. The network that caught the 2024 signal was never part of the Far Reach program at all. It is a loose, worldwide collective of amateur radio astronomers, school teachers, retired engineers, hobbyists with dishes in their backyards, who quietly monitor known frequencies from old missions on the theory, more sentimental than scientific, that some of them might still be listening back. Most nights, they hear nothing. On this night, one station heard MERIDIAN's exact fingerprint, and did the only thing the protocol has ever told them to do. They told everyone else to point their dishes at the same patch of sky immediately. The Far Reach program's caretaker staff did what any careful institution does with an extraordinary claim. They assumed it was wrong and tried to prove it. They compared the new signal's encoding, timing structure, and internal error correction pattern against MERIDIAN's original 1979 design specification, sealed and unopened for decades. It matched, not approximately. To the level of precision the original engineers had built in specifically to prevent this kind of signal from ever being faked. Verification answered the question everyone asked first: is this real? And immediately opened the one nobody had prepared for. A spacecraft with no propellant left for course changes, coasting on a fixed vector for 27 years, should be exactly where basic arithmetic says it should be. Mission Control ran the numbers before they even finished celebrating. The numbers did not agree with the sky. The team split, as teams do, into 2 careful camps. The first holds that the original 1997 tracking data was simply imperfect, small errors compounding silently over 27 years of coasting into a position mismatch that looks dramatic but has a mundane explanation: bad math, not a moving target. The second camp ran the error bars twice and found them nowhere near large enough. If they are right, something changed Meridian's course during the 27 years it wasn't talking to anyone. And it did so using propulsion the spacecraft was never carrying enough fuel to perform. While the position argument continued, the program's engineers turned to the signal itself and began, painstakingly, decoding the telemetry packets riding on it. Most of it matched Meridian's known instrument suite exactly. The same temperature sensors, the same radiation counters, 27 years older but unmistakably the same design. Buried among them, though, repeating at regular intervals, was a data block that matched nothing in the original specification at all. A spacecraft cannot transmit data from a sensor it does not have. Meridian's manifest, verified against the sealed 1979 specification, lists exactly 9 instruments. The repeating block does not match the output format of any of the 9, not a malfunction, not a corrupted version of an existing channel, but a fundamentally different data structure, arriving on schedule, packaged the way the other 9 are packaged, as if it belongs. The caretaker engineer who first flagged it wrote, in the incident log, 4 words that the rest of the team has since adopted as an unofficial project motto. Then, where did it come from? For the first time in over 2 decades, the Far Reach program placed calls to its original engineers, most retired. One recovered from a filing cabinet obituary clipping before anyone realized she was still alive to call. Within a week, a program that had been 4 archivists and a locked storage room became, again, a team. Nobody has said publicly what they think is happening. Several of them, off the record, have said they are not sure they want to know before they are certain. Strip away the position mismatch and the unrecognized data block, and a smaller, plainer question remains, the one the night shift engineer wrote down in 1997 and never stopped believing. Something made Meridian stop transmitting instantly, without warning, 1 second after telling everyone it was fine. Whatever answers the trajectory problem and the extra instrument eventually receive, they will still have to answer that first. Nothing about a healthy spacecraft cuts off mid-sentence. The program has a name now for the data nobody can explain. Quietly, unofficially, the way these things always get named. They call it the 10th channel. What it measures, why Meridian began transmitting it only after 27 years of silence, and what it might have to do with a position no fixed trajectory can account for, that is what the Reconvened team is now working around the clock to decode. We are still listening. If this pulled you in, subscribe. New mysteries drop regularly across every series in the archive project. The next episode's waiting.